Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the Catherine Crochets podcast. Hello, my name's Catherine. I'm a crochet designer from South London in the UK, and this is my podcast where I like to chat about all the recent crochet and knitting projects that I've been working on recently. So welcome back if you've watched before. I hope you've had a lovely few weeks since we last chatted and have been working on some nice crochet or knitting projects recently. I've been relatively busy crochet-wise, got quite a bit done, so I've got a few projects to share with you today. I've got three crochet projects and one knitting project to show you. Two of them are completely new since the last episode, I think. I've also got a crochet book that I read recently. It was recommended on another podcast that I watched, and I've read it and found it really useful and interesting. So I thought I'd chat a little bit about that at the end too, in case you find the book helpful as well. So since we last spoke, just besides the projects that I've been working on that I'll show you in a minute, the Santa's Workshop crochet along that was running has now finished. It was really close to the end when I filmed the last episode, and there'd just been a little hiccup delay to releasing week 5, which ended up coming out in 2 parts, and then week 6 a week later. So it was spread out a little bit more than originally planned. So I hope that if that did affect you, you were able to finish your project in time, and it's been wonderful over the last few weeks. The crochet along, so week 6 came out mid to late November, and I can't remember the exact date now. So it's been a few weeks since the last part of the pattern came out, and so there's been every day there's been new photos of newly finished Santa's Workshop blankets popping up on my feed on Instagram and on Facebook, and it's been really lovely seeing them all. Some of them are with the recipients, some of them are with dogs and cats or with small children, and just hearing how much people have enjoyed making the blanket, learning new stitches, and how much the blankets are being enjoyed by the recipients for people who've already given it to them. And I think I spoke about it a little bit last time, but there was lots of sort of scope within the design to personalize it. Obviously you could change the colors to if you wanted to make it in a different color scheme, but also putting different toys on the train, different names on the nice list, that sort of thing. So it's been really nice seeing the personal touches that everyone has been adding to their blankets. So that's been lovely over the last few weeks, seeing all that coming in. And then just after the end of the crochet along, I released my new Whittaker beanie pattern, which I will show you now. So I did show you the beanies last time. I've actually made 4 of them all together. This is I made mittens once, and I made 5 mittens, I think, but that was because the pattern came in 5 different sizes. And I have made multiple beanies before of, I think my down in the line beanie I made in 2 or 3 different versions, but 4 is a record for me of making my own pattern, all the same size. So I can't remember which ones I showed you last time. I'd made 2, and I was working on, just found an end. Oh, I haven't sewn that one in yet, I'll have to sew that in. I thought it was all done. I finished a couple, I think, last time, and I was just making a couple more. So I've now finished them. So the ribbing, they're all at the moment got the ribbing folded down because it keeps them flat, but the ribbing is designed to be turned up, which I think is why I hadn't noticed that end before. So when you turn up the ribbing, it's like that. So yeah, the pattern's now been released, and I've also released here on YouTube a video tutorial showing how to do the ribbing. So when you make the hat, you start here and you work in the round and work upwards. This is a tapestry crochet section, and then you do some decreases up to the top. Then once you've made all of that main part of the hat, you add the ribbing on at the end using a sort of join as you go technique. So you're working in and out, and every time you get back to the bottom of the hat, you're joining it onto the hat before working the next bit, and you do that all the way around to make the ribbing. So I previously had tutorials for the tapestry crochet technique that's used, but I've just added a new tutorial to my channel showing how to do the ribbing. The written instructions do say what to do step by step, but I know sometimes it's helpful to actually see what that means in practice as well. So that's why I've added the video tutorial as well. So that pattern was released at the end of November, and yeah, lots of people, everyone on my mailing list got a copy of it for free as a special gift, but lots of other people who've discovered the pattern since or went on my mailing list have bought it as well. So that's been lovely. And yeah, I look forward to seeing lots of these beanies out in the wild. The yarn that I used for it was Serdar's 100% recycled, no, let me try that again. Serdar's Loveful 100% recycled tweed, possibly blend at the end, I can't remember. But yeah, it's a tweed yarn, 100% recycled. I think it's 50% wool, 50% polyester. It's a mix, but all the components are recycled. So you get this nice kind of fleck in, it's not showing up that well on the camera. Maybe I'll show you the top of the hat. Yeah, you can see the sort of pink and blue flecks in the white there. And you also get a nice tweediness in the maroon. And again, in the blue, a sort of whitish fleck to it, which is really nice. I think works really well with tapestry crochet as well, because you get a bit of a sort of more mottled effect. Yeah, so I'll pop a link to that yarn below as well if you're interested in checking out using the same yarn, but it's just a DK weight yarn, so if you wanted to swap, you could swap it for any other DK weight, wool or acrylic. Something soft and cozy would work really well. And it uses, each beanie used less than 50 grams of each of the two colours. So the balls are 100-gram balls, so if you buy 2 balls, you can make 2 hats, and you could either make them the same, or you could make, like I've done, you could flip the colours over to have them the other way around. So yeah, that's the Whittaker beanie, and the pattern's out now, and the video tutorial for the ribbing, so go and have a watch or grab the pattern if you'd like to make one. They're really quick to work up. That's how I managed to make so many of them. So I definitely recommend it for this winter if you like making crochet hats. So the next project I have to show you is a knitting project. This is another one. I spoke about this one last time, but I hadn't started it. And so since the last podcast, I have started and finished a whole pair of knitted socks, which is definitely the fastest I've ever knitted socks before. And these were knitted with, so the red yarn I dyed myself at the Lay Family yarn dyeing retreat that I went on. If you want to hear a bit more about that and you missed the last episode, go and watch the last episode where I talk more about dyeing the yarn. But it was a brilliant weekend, met brilliant people, lovely hosts, Kelly and Nick, and yeah, it was just so much fun. So this yarn was the yarn that I dyed, and the inspiration for the colour was from a photo of some pomegranate seeds. So they were like this, sort of dark reds with little flecks of white reflecting like sort of rubies and jewels. And then when we got our skein of hand-dyed yarn at the end of the weekend, took it into the shop there, the Lay Family Yarn shop, and found a contrasting colour, because I knew I wanted to make Christmas socks with it, and I thought I'd go for a green, and I found this one called, I think it's called Teal Deal. It's actually, it's a sock yarn, but as well, this was just a merino and nylon sock yarn. This one's also got some yak in it as well, and it's really, it feels absolutely lovely. It's got a real sort of silky smoothness to it as well. So obviously I've got quite a bit of the teal left because I've only used it on the toe, heel and cuffs. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making possibly a whole pair of socks all in the teal yarns. So it's just a simple vanilla sock. The pattern I used was the simple Shorty sock pattern from MSC Makes, just because that's one I've used before and I know how it all goes. So because her patterns are for Shorty socks, I did obviously, mine aren't Shorties, I've lengthened the leg, but obviously you just keep going around more times. And I also made the ribbing at the top, instead of the 10 rounds I think she suggests in the pattern for short socks, I did 12 because I just wanted it a little bit thicker. And last time when I was talking about doing this, because I said, I showed you the yarn last time and I said I wanted to make Christmas socks obviously in time for Christmas, well, I thought I was pretty confident I had enough time to do them, but to make sure that I got them done, I was talking about possibly making them 2 at a time so I could sort of see exactly how far I had still to go. But then when I came to do it, to ball up the yarn, I didn't want to cut. I wouldn't have had to have cut I could have just had a single ball of the contrast colour because I could have just worked it on one sock and then on the other, and the same with the heel and the toe. But with the main colour yarn that I was going to need for all of it, in order to make the socks 2 at a time, I was going to have to cut the main colour yarn in half. And also, I didn't think I was going to use all of the 100 grams of the main colour yarn, which I didn't. I haven't got it with me to show you, but I have actually got a fair bit left. And I just didn't want to cut it because then I knew I'd end up with 2 small balls of yarn at the end instead of 1 ball, and I just thought it would be better to have a whole small ball of the yarn left over. So I decided, right, we'll just do them 1 at a time. I don't know which one I did first now, but I finished one, really happy with it, and then ploughed straight into the second one. And I think I did the second one even quicker than the first, and I finished it off last night. Kitchener stitched up the toe, and they're all done and ready. So I'm really looking forward to wearing these for Christmas. I got some new pyjama trousers recently that are kind of a cherry red tartan sort of style, and they go really well with these socks. So I'm looking forward to wearing the socks with the pyjamas. I think they'll go really well together. So yeah, really pleased with finishing these. I've got, I've said before, I try to only have one knitting project on the go at a time, whereas crochet, I'm quite happy to have several different things, perhaps personal projects and projects that I'm designing. I have tried to only have one knitting project on the go. However, in order to get these done in time for Christmas, I put a different knitting sock project on hold, having just made one sock from that pair, but they're just a sort of autumny colour yarn, so they weren't so, I didn't need them by such a deadline. However, I'm not going to return to those socks just yet, because I also last winter started a knitted, I'd call it a tank top, I think in America it would be called a vest, but a sleeveless sweater pattern, which I started last winter and then put on hold over the summer because I wasn't going to wear it. So I'm actually, having had a bit of a splurge on socks recently, I'm quite keen to knit something else as my knitting project. I do like having a knitting thing on the go, because sometimes I just feel like knitting, feel like the action of knitting with my needles more than hooking with a crochet hook. So I think I'm quite excited actually to pick up that sleeveless sweater project again. So hopefully I'll make a little bit of progress on that over the next few weeks, and then I'll be able to show it to you in the next episode. I can't remember if I did show it on the podcast at all last winter. I think I started it in January, but I was just having a look through the bag earlier to see how much I'd done. It's a reasonable chunk of knitting, but yeah, hopefully I'll make a bit more progress and then have something good to show you in the next episode. So yeah, that's where I am knitting wise at the moment. So we'll move back to crochet now, and the next project that I have to show you is a pattern test that I did for my friend Carmen from Off the Hook Creative, and she has named it now. I asked her the other day, but when I did the test, the pattern was as yet unnamed. But and I'm afraid I can't remember the name. It's not been released yet. So I'll pop a link to Carmen's Instagram below. So do follow her, and I'm sure she'll post on there when the pattern is released. But for the purposes of the test, she asked us to just make 2 or more squares. I managed 2 in the time for the test. We just had a week and I had a few other things on the go. So I stopped having made 2, but it's this really lovely floral motif. You can see this flower stands out from the square. It's got a lot of detail. So I use one colour for the centre, one colour for the petals, and then a different colour for sort of outlining all the petals. On some people's, there's a bigger contrast between the colours that they use and it stands out more, which looks really good. But I've used quite similar blues and greens, so I think especially in this light it's not showing up so much the outlining, but I hope you can see it a bit, because that's a really I think really nice sort of feature of this pattern. I made mine with Shapey's stone washed, although Carmen does suggest using a DK cotton yarn, so my squares are a tiny bit smaller than hers. And she just wanted us to test the square, but the pattern that she's actually using them in is for a really lovely bag, which I was lucky to actually see in real life last week, because Carmen and I, we met online on Instagram, but then discovered that we live not too far from each other. So every few months or so for the last year, we've been meeting up, mainly for coffees. Once we went to the Unravel Yarn Festival. So last week we met up and had a really lovely coffee and crochet date together. And yeah, she brought the bag along and showed me the finished bag. So the finished pattern, it's one of those bags where you have the squares sort of on the diagonal. So you have I think 13 altogether. So the way she's done it is there's 5 with the flower motif, and then to sort of turn the corners on each side, and at the bottom they're just plain squares, because it's a bit harder to fold it with a flower on. It doesn't look so good. So those ones are plain, and then it's got a lovely handle as well. So yeah, I was really happy to make this for Carmen. It was really fun and something different for me to work up compared to the other things that I had going. And my plans for this, I'm not sure if I've actually got enough yarn to make a full bag. So what I was thinking I was going to do, one of my daughters is really into sort of pale blues and creams and things at the moment, so I was thinking I might just make 2 more and join them, and then 4 plain ones, and just make a really cute little cushion for her to pop on her bed, or it could go anywhere else. It could go here on the sofa here if she doesn't want it. I'm not sure yet who'll get it. I might want it actually in my crochet room, we'll see. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, is just make 2 more to join on, 4 plain ones for the back, and yeah, just make a little small little cushion, because I think that will look lovely. So yeah, that's my 3rd project to share with you today. Pattern test for Carmen from Off the Hook Creative. Now, I should have checked before I started filming. I thought I hadn't started making this when I filmed the last episode, but now I'm wondering if perhaps I had, and I showed you a tiny bit, but I can't remember. I know I started it about a month ago, maybe a bit less. Anyway, it's a new blanket, and it's made with the granny spike stitch. So it's like rows of granny stripe, but the middle treble crochet or US double crochet of each cluster is made as a spike stitch, sort of to 2 rows below, instead of a normal granny cluster with just a normal treble crochet. So it's sort of, you've got less holes in the fabric. It's a much less holey fabric, and it also means you can make these fun patterns depending on when you change colour. So I've gone for 4 colours, so each each big stripe has 3 of them, and I'm just cycling through. So I've started with blue, lilac, green, turquoise, and then lilac, turquoise, blue, and then turquoise, blue, lilac, and then going through them again. So I'm going to go through them all 9 times in total, so 9 big stripes in total. And then, because I weighed the yarn before I started, and I'm pretty sure I've got enough to go to make it that far, and it will just be rectangular. Then it'll be slightly longer than it is wide, and I think it will be a good size still. As you can see, it's pretty big already. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on the 7th stripe now, and then there'll be a couple more, and then I'm going to finish it all off with a border. And this pattern, you might recognise it if you've been making or seeing the pictures of the Santa's Workshop blanket. This sort of pattern of this stripe was on 2 of the side panels down the sides of the Santa's Workshop blanket, and it was one of my favourite parts of the whole design. So it was a feature or a stitch pattern idea that I'd had right since the beginning of the whole design process, and although that overall look of the blanket and the colours and everything changed so much since my first design ideas, that feature of this granny stripe stitch pattern stayed in the design through all the iterations, and I'm really pleased it did. And as I was making it, I was thinking, wouldn't it be lovely as well just to make a whole blanket using this stitch pattern? So that is what I'm now doing. I'm using Serdar's Hayfield Bonus DK, which is the same yarn that was used in the Santa's Workshop blanket, obviously in completely different colours. None of these are from the blanket, but they're colours that, so while I was designing the blanket, Serdar sent me lots of the Bonus DK yarn to use during the design process to try out different colours and stitches, and just, you know, you can't design a blanket without actually crocheting some swatches and samples. So I had quite a bit left over. Most of it was just 1 ball of each colour, but these I had 2 of each colour left over. I think in the whole process, occasionally I got sent top-ups with extra balls of different colours. So I ended up with, it was less because I'd used some of it, but I had more than 1 ball, nearly 2 balls of each colour, which I worked out was just about enough to make a blanket. So I was really pleased about that. I didn't have to order any more yarn, and it was a great way to use it up. And these were the only 4 colours that I actually had more than 1 ball of, and so I was so pleased when I had a rummage around and found them, because I think they go pretty well together. It's quite a dark navy blue. Maybe it would have been better if that was a little bit lighter, but I was so pleased. It's really nice to use up yarn that I already had and not have to order more. So really pleased with how this is coming on. It is so squishy and snuggly, and yeah, looking forward to finishing it. Hopefully I'll finish it off over Christmas, and then my plan is, so it's quite a simple pattern really, and you know, if you know much about crochet, if you can do a granny stripe blanket, you could easily work it out for yourself. So I'm going to release it as there'll be a free pattern for it on my blog. You know, it'll just give you the stitch count, how much yarn you need. Obviously you can adjust it. It'll explain how to adjust it to different widths if you want to make it a different size, how many rows I've done of each colour, when I've changed colour to what. So it'll have all that in it. That will be a free pattern on my blog. Also going to do a full video tutorial taking you step by step, showing you how to make the whole blanket, and it will include as well whatever I do for the border at the end as well. I've got a few ideas but I haven't quite finalised exactly what that's going to be yet. And then I'm going to do a PDF version of the pattern as well for those who want it, which will be available for a small charge on Ravelry. So if you think this looks like your sort of project, it's really relaxing. I think it'd make a great project for the new year. Then do sign up to my email list. I'll pop a link to that below, and then you'll be notified when the pattern's available in all those places, the video tutorial, the free pattern on the blog, and the pattern on Ravelry. So that, if you want to make sure you don't miss it, that's the best way to make sure. Sign up to my email list at the link below. Yeah, so that's the final project that I have to share with you today. But there were a couple of other things I said I'd just like to talk to you about. So one was this crochet book that I read recently. It's called Crochet Secrets by the Naughty Boss, or from the Naughty Boss, who is Anna Lazina, and it is over 100 tips and tricks to improve your crochet. So I first heard about this book on Fay DH's podcast on YouTube, which is called Brew from the Bothy. It's a really brilliant podcast. If you don't know about it or watch it already, she releases a new episode every 2 weeks sharing what she's up to, but she's got so much knowledge and expertise that I always learn something new as well when I'm watching it. Plus it's just really inspiring and lovely watch as well, so I recommend watching it. But yeah, Faye mentioned this book on her podcast and I thought, oh, that sounded really good, and ordered myself a copy, which I have now read. And thank you so much, Faye, for the recommendation if you are watching this, because this is a really good book. It's just full of loads of tips and tricks, like it says, just to kind of take your crochet up to the next level. So it's not a beginner's book. If you're brand new, I wouldn't start with this book. It assumes that you can already crochet and are already crocheting, but what it does is all these things like starting new rows, turning chains, changing colour, joining rounds, all those little things where when you do them you think you're not necessarily 100% happy with the look or how you're doing it. All those little things, it's got tricks and tips about the best way to do it, just to get your crochet looking really good, really professional, and kind of up to that next level. So yeah, weaving in ends, it covers joining 2 yarns together. See if I can remember. Talks about the anatomy of a crochet hook, how to avoid curling edges, keeping your stitches even, how to seam when you're like joining in the round, turning, colour changes, what else? Joining, different methods for joining motifs together. If you're into amigurumi, things like adding the details onto your amigurumi projects, the best way to do that. So loads and loads of just really clever little tips. So I would definitely recommend it. It's $15.99, published by David and Charles, and I'm sure it's available in all the usual places. So yeah, I've not been paid, I bought it myself. I just really enjoyed this book and found it super helpful and would definitely recommend it. So maybe put it on your Christmas list if anyone's asking you what you'd like for Christmas this year. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, just because I think it looks really lovely, is the yarn that I bought for my next blanket design. I'm not gonna tell you too much about it just yet though, because I want to keep it as a bit of a surprise, but I'm really excited about the yarn. So it's Swish from Knit Picks, Swish DK weight, and it is 100% superwash merino wool, really soft and lovely. Earlier this year, again, I'm not sure if I spoke about it on the podcast, I did post about it on Instagram. Earlier this year, Knit Picks, who were related to sort of sister company with We Crochet, so I think it was someone, from We Crochet who actually got in touch and asked if I wanted to try any of their yarn, and they sent me 4 different sorts to try. One of them was a ball of this Swish DK yarn. So I had it in a different colour, not one of these, but really liked it and thought it would be great for making a blanket with. This year's just flown by, so I've not really had time to move on with making that a blanket with that yarn. But with the Santa's Workshop Cal out of the way, I've had time to sort of sit down and think a bit more and start planning that, because I've had in my head for quite a while now a picture of what I want this final blanket to look like. I haven't yet worked out exactly the stitches and so on that will be needed, but that's the next step. And I knew the colours and everything. So yeah, I ordered this yarn I've got one ball in each colour, so I'll hold them up to show you. I can tell you their names. I think they've got quite nice names. Yeah, and they're written on it. So that's Wonderland Heather, Green Tea Heather, Forest Heather, Rose Heather, lots of heathers, Delft Heather, and Conch. That's the only one that's not a heather. So see if I can hold them all up together so you can get an idea of how they go. But I think it's a really nice colour combination, and actually there were quite a few colours out of stock online when I was looking, and one or two that I wanted to get I couldn't. So for example, this was a different shade of blue to the one that when I looked online I thought I really actually wanted. But now these 6 colours have all arrived, and this one as well is different to the one I wanted, I think. But now these 6 colours have arrived, I am really happy with how they all go together, and I'm not sure actually that I'd change it. So it's going to be, without giving too much away, the blanket, it's going to be another, I've got a few blanket designs that are made of squares and hexagons, which have got a kind of, they feel a bit like ceramic tiles. So it's going to be another design based on motifs like that are joined together, and will have a bit of a tile-like feel to them. But I'm not going to say anything more about what's actually going to be on those tiles. So the next stage is I've got to work out the stitch pattern for those tiles, make one up, work out how much yarn each tile is going to need, work out how much I'll need for the whole blanket, and then get the yarn, work out how many balls I'll need of each of these colours, and get the yarn. So I don't know, I'm dropping balls all over the place, aren't I? I don't know how long it's going to take me to go through all that. I'm hoping January I'll get Christmas and New Year out of the way, and then January I'll be able to get my head down and really focus on that for a bit. But making the whole blanket it's going to take weeks, if not months. Yeah, I'm hoping to have it out. In my head, I've got kind of May, June time as when I'd like to release the blanket if possible. But we'll see how it goes. And obviously, I'll keep you updated on here on the podcast. What else is going on? I haven't submitted any designs. A few years ago, I was published in Crochet Now magazine a few times. I submitted designs and they were accepted. But for the last few years now, I can't remember how long, I haven't submitted to magazines at all, apart from Granny Square Day in August this year, but that was just some small squares. But it's something I've been wanting to get back into a bit, sort of not loads, because I've got lots of ideas I want to make myself anyway, but I wanted to do some. So I submitted some designs to a crochet magazine recently, just a couple of blanket ideas, and both of them were accepted. So I can't tell you anything about them yet, and they won't be published until much later next year. I'm not sure when actually, definitely I think in the second half of next year. But I've got those two, the yarn's on its way, so I've got those 2 blankets to make and write the patterns up for in the new year as well. I'm also going to be doing some in-person crochet workshops locally, which is really exciting. That's something brand new for me, and yeah, not something I've done before. But I recently started going to a crochet club, it's called, locally, a monthly crochet club at a kind of creative space that we have near us. There's loads of different arts and craft workshops. So I went along, met the people who run the business and own it all, and they found out that I also design patterns, and yeah, asked if I'd like to do a couple of workshops. So I've got 2 coming up in the new year. The first one, right near the start of January actually, is for my Starlight Square. It's just a 2-hour session, a kind of taster workshop into that style of crochet, and then I've got a 4-week course running from February to March with them, where we're going to be making midnight diamond blankets, which I'm really looking forward to, because I'm going to make one as well with everyone during the course. And it's been a long time since I made my first one, so I'm really looking forward to making, oh, that's my washing machine. I'm not sure if you can hear the beep. I'll just pause this and turn it off. That's better. Yeah, I've turned it off now. If you don't turn it off, it just keeps beeping and beeping, which is really annoying. So what was I saying? Yeah, I'm just saying I'm really looking forward to these courses in the new year, brand new, and it's going to be fun actually connecting with people in person, making my patterns rather than just online. So that should be really good. And yeah, just really excited about all the new things coming with Catherine Crochets in 2026. So thank you very much for joining me today and watching this podcast. It's been lovely having you with me and sharing all of the things I've been doing recently. I hope you enjoy the rest of December and have a very happy new year. And I'll be back with another podcast. It won't be until next year now in 2026, but I'm sure I will have lots more things to share with you then. So take care, enjoy all your crochet and knitting time, whatever you're up to over the next few weeks. Have a lovely Christmas if you're celebrating, and I will see you again next year. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.